Hey guys, my name is Brandon and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you like what you see in here, you're more than welcome to hit the subscribe button so you stay notified every time I upload a new video. Okay, let's get straight on with today's video. Hey everyone and welcome back to Is That More Brandon. So in today's video I'm going to be doing a review to the Apprentice Series 19 2024 episode 9. So without further ado, at the beginning of the episode we found out it was going to be a live sell-in task because after the two previous people got fired, Lord Sugar asked the final 8 candidates to go into the cinema room to watch a little video that he'd obviously created for them. Jordan explained that things were getting serious, and Mia basically explained that the smallest things could lead to obviously the biggest risk. Lord Sugar explained that TV shopping channels make at least £1 billion worth of sales every year with a range of different products being sold, and what their task was to do was to choose between a different range of products, sell the items, and obviously the team that has the highest profits from those sales would be the winning team, with at least one person on the losing team being fired. Mia said that this was the best Apprentice task, so she was absolutely looking forward to this one. So the teams didn't change, because obviously they both lost someone from each of their teams. So Team Parallel was led by Max this time, so Max was the project manager, and you had Amber, Chizola and Dean followed by him. And then for Team Ascendancy, Liam decided to put himself forward as project manager, and then you had Jordan, Anissa and Mia, who obviously had his bag. So 2 guys, 2 girls on each team, so it's kind of made it a little bit more fair. So I don't know if that was kind of done on purpose or if it just kind of happened to just work out that way. But yeah, so for Team Parallel, Max took the lead, so we will discuss what Max did with his team first. So Dean actually said he was happy to put himself forward as well. Amber explained that she didn't really have any experience in front of a camera and selling anything, with Max saying, actually I've done a bit of like live streaming for like a sports event, not necessarily live TV but live streaming for like a sports event. So Chizola said, well actually for the person that's got experience I'm actually going to go for Max. So Max was like, yeah, this is exciting. And Dean was just a little bit confused because obviously he does selling as a day-to-day job, so they're just he's just confused why they didn't vote for him, why Chizola's final vote was actually for someone like Max who just had a tad of experience. Max then, as PM, decided that he wanted to go down a more beauty, self-care and activities kind of route in terms of the items that they were going to sell. It was going to be him and Dean in the box, and obviously the 2 girls would be presenting. He said in terms of the star product, just be enthusiastic. We want a high-priced item, or we wanted to avoid the item completely. So either if it's worth 10 quid, don't bother. If it's like £500, fight for it. Amber Rose basically explained that she felt like Max didn't have any confidence in her, in the fact that, you know, the boys weren't sure what the girls were going to choose. And then she, as feedback the other way, said, well, in terms of the items you guys get for us to sell, make sure it's items that they're relatable to us, that it's easy for us to sell, not something that we don't have any idea about, for example. Chizola said in terms of one of their star products that she'd never seen a waterfall look so beautiful before. Amber Rose said she'd never seen a handle-like glove before. And obviously for Max and Dean, when they were off looking for the general items, Dean found a handheld vibrating workout machine thing which you hold, and obviously it was just a bit much. Max found a steamer for your face, a rowing boat, so a kayak for about £70 each. That was apparently a bargain. And I think Tim kind of said to the camera that they're looking for things that they like, they're not looking for things that the customers would like. So obviously, yeah, Max might be an avid kayak rower, and you know, they think the carpet would be really nice to sit on and things like that. So they're both having a little bit of a laugh, having a bit of a giggle, but they weren't thinking of, I think, the customer product side. They were kind of thinking of, what do we like? Because again, it wasn't them who were going to be selling it, it was the girls. So they kind of didn't really care. They were just picking things that were fun, but then it didn't really reflect later on. And then, yeah, they ended up looking at a parasol. So Dean questioned, saying, should we go for a parasol at £89.99? Because I think Max was looking at like a carpet or something, which is about £6 or £7. So he's saying, actually, if we sell 1 parasol, that's about however many hundreds worth of those carpets or mats and things. And then they saw a grill and an air fryer machine. So the 2 girls said that they would be confident selling the air fryer. And they were advised that no, that had obviously gone to the other team. And their backup option, or their second option, was the handy lights. So they ended up getting those colourful mitten gloves with lights, which apparently if you put your hands in them, you can, it just is apparently a health benefit for your hands. I don't know what it does, but it's some sort of health benefit. Max was also talking about the canoe and kayak, which was $179.99, with Amber again. So kind of the boys and the girls are in separate places at this point. They're both looking for products. Amber and Chizola are looking for that star product. Dean and Max are looking for that range of products that they want the girls to sell on the channel. Amber explained that the items the boys brought back were slightly niche. She wouldn't buy the item, so she's not sure how she's going to be able to sell the item. Picnic blanket, Chizola said there's nothing wow about it. And then for their star product, Chizola said that they had the options between a £599.99 glove with lights or a £149.99 air fryer, and they lost the air fryer to the other team, but they didn't want to reveal that straight away. They said we went for the glove, and yeah, kind of our first option was the air fryer, but it must have gone to the other team. When we got to the actual live TV production, both the girls honestly absolutely smashed it. I think they were so good. It was, I don't want to say it was funny, but it was entertaining to watch, because selling to people that you can't actually see, or selling to people you can see is difficult enough, but selling to people that you can't see, like a YouTube video for example, is just ridiculous. So yeah, Amber was trying to sell the face steamer for £19.99, and obviously in the little director's room, Max was kind of in her ear saying, you need to put it up to your face, because she was putting it here, so the steam was going on her face, but I think because she had makeup on, she didn't want to ruin her makeup. And then later on it was revealed that she didn't want to hide her mouth from being seen, because obviously if you have something on your face like that, you can't see your mouth moving, for people that might be deaf, or people that are looking to lip read for whatever reason. So yeah, she was holding it here. Actually, you should have held it here, so the hot steam actually goes on your face. So she could have done it in a weird, she could have done it half on her face at the side, she could have done it on her forehead, like she could have, I think it was more protect the makeup, and also she didn't want to cover her mouth. It was up to Chizola to then join in with Amber to sell that kayak. So they were sitting in the kayak, rowing the oars. I think Chizola was doing it right, and Amber was just doing it this way, with Lord Sugar watching on with his grandson, who was like, yeah, you're not going to get very far if you row like that. So that was quite entertaining. And they were bringing the price down and arguing. Max and Dean were discussing and arguing, discussing or arguing about the price, with Dean saying you need to bring it down to a final price, with Max saying hold up, we need to do it slowly, bring it down, down, down. And Dean was like, no, we need to do a final price, we're running out of time, we have 3 minutes left. And Max was like, yeah, but we're doing really well, but the sales weren't coming in. So there was a bit of disagreement there. I think Dean was in the right. I think the fact that he was jumping, saying like, quick, we actually have to get moving, sales need to be done quick. He just wasn't being listened to by Max. And Tim basically explained that they're also not focused on giving the girls any information about the items, they're just focusing on just battling with each other in terms of the prices. Like, for the kayak, there's only so much you can say about a kayak, so what information did the boys get? What were the measurements? What's the height? What's it made of? What colour variations are available? Like, you need to think of what makes this kayak better than any other kayak on the market. It was up to Chizola to do her sale of the picnic blanket, which was priced at $27.99. Dean straight away said we need to cut the price and focus on the star buyer, because obviously there's only so much you can say about a carpet or a blanket. So yeah, she was doing really, really well, and talking all the different variations of how you could use the carpet, and it's portable and things like that. But again, even when that was cut and she ended up being offset for a little bit, she was like, what else am I supposed to say about a carpet? You literally sit on it, eat it, you clean it, you take it away with you on holiday, and then that's it basically. And then for the final item, Max explained that they're going to have the star price as $599.99. And yeah, obviously this is the item that the two girls chose, and basically they just both got caught in little health claims. So I think Amber said it gets rid of wrinkles from your hands, and Chizola said it's better than any other healthcare skin cream regime out there, and obviously they're both claims, they're not actually genuine, it's just, they're just saying it's the best. It's not like been tested as the best, it's just their opinion as the best. So they could say, helps your skin, it could rejuvenate your skin, it could make you feel better, it can take away some stress and make your body all soft and things like that. That's not really a health thing, a health claim, but saying it's the best and it's going to change your life, and you know, you're going to be 15 years younger when you stop using it. That are all just things that didn't quite work. Dean was also looking at some of the buttons in the director's room, saying he could potentially press buttons like heartbeat, applause, things like that, because obviously you've started getting sales on that star prize, and Max was like, no, stop being a kid, don't know what these buttons do. And Dean was like, well, that's the whole fun of it, like it's a star item, click random buttons and let boom 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 pop up on the screen. They ended up going down to $219.99, and yeah, Lord Sugar basically at the end just basically said to the TV, yeah, look, shocking products, the gloves, with Chizola saying who wanted a carpet or a kayak, like they're just such niche items, and she said obviously that'll be up to Max if they were to have obviously lost the task. And then for Team Ascendancy, so again it was Liam that took the charge on this one. This was quite a funny one, to be fair. I mean, I do feel sorry for the guy, but we'll get there in a minute. So at the beginning of the task, Mia said that she couldn't wait. Jordan said that everyone seemed to obviously be looking forward to this task. And Liam, as project manager, said he wanted to go for more home decor, bedroom, kitchen and living kind of items, because he knows that, you know, for some sort of morning routine or, you know, everyday life, that's probably what people are more likely to use. Jordan questioned whether they should go for 4 high products or 2 high, 2 low. And I think Jordan just kind of said, well, actually, if the higher items are just ridiculous, like just items that you're not going to need, don't bother getting them. I would say, I think he said go based on the actual item rather than the actual price. It doesn't really matter what the prices are of them. If they're pricey, that's good. And if they're good items, that's good. But if you happen to get 4 cheap ones that you know are going to sell well, just do it. Just because it's better to have the sales than an item that just doesn't sell. Mia basically said that they needed to think of items that people could imagine themselves having in their life and that they not have it without, basically. So she basically compared like pyjamas, something like an everyday need or an everyday essential, as opposed to a £500 blender that people might not necessarily need all the time. She also added that her and Anissa had both been PM and sub-team leader many a times, 9 times between the two of them. So if Liam needed any help and support, they were absolutely there to help him. Liam then said that on the TV selling team there could only be two people. He said as project manager he would love to do that himself, and then he said he kind of felt like he needed some sort of female counterpart. So Jordan said he felt like he was quite relatable, he's done sales before, and you know, he just said he felt like he could do the selling part really good. Mia jumped in and said she's got a background in sales and it would be quite nice to have some sort of female representation. So Liam said, yeah, with Mia's experience in sales, he wants her to do the selling as well. I think Jordan chimed in here because I think Jordan and Liam have had a few little iffies before. I think Jordan wasn't happy that Liam put himself forward purely because of what happened in some of the previous tasks where he couldn't really public speak and he couldn't really, you know, get words out. He's just questioning why Liam's put himself in the selling team when actually he could be the director helping give information about that. And Jordan said it felt like Liam was kind of just thinking about himself rather than the greater good of the actual team. Liam asked who is going to sell, who's going to sell the most between him and Mia, with Mia saying, we've got to show you the ropes. They looked at items again, similar to the other team, the waterfall, the lights. Mia explained that with the waterfall, it's niche, because obviously for people that don't have any outside space or a garden, they can't use it. It limits who you can sell it to. And then Anissa and Jordan, obviously for that star product, questioned whether they could have the coffee machine, and due to Mia's previous catering experience, they allowed that team to obviously get the coffee machine with its 5 or 6 different functions. Jordan and Anissa were obviously the other half who were obviously looking for, they were looking for the other mystery items. So they found an eye robe with a mask and a scrunchie. With Jordan obviously pretending if he was going to sell the item, how he would sell the item, which Baroness Brady picked up on, saying Jordan was demonstrating how he would sell the items as a seller instead of actually focusing on the items that he was going to be bringing to the other half of their team. So yeah, I think it was a bit salty, the fact that he was then still trying to sell the items to Anita, and she was like, yeah, actually, you know, I'd buy that, because he's not on the selling team. Liam's decided that's not happening, just focus on the items. But I do get that Jordan's eager, and I do understand that probably Jordan was frustrated, so he just wanted to prove a point, to just be like, actually, I should have been on that team. And then, yeah, Mia basically explained that she was really happy with the 5-in-1 coffee machine item. no, Mia basically explained that obviously part of her catering industry, the 5-in-1 item, the grill and cooking machine or whatever, would have been quite good in terms of time and convenience. And then obviously just quickly going back to the Anita Jordan coffee machine thing, I think it was 2 similar items. So the coffee machine was just one of the random items they were looking at. It was the 5-in-1 grill machine that was the star item that Mia was looking at with Liam. And Liam said, yeah, hopefully her catering background comes through, hopefully we win that item, which obviously they did end up winning. So the items that the other half of the team picked were a smart coffee machine with Alexa, a vacuum cleaner, a leopard robe set, and Liam said that they did a good job with the items, with Jordan explaining it seems like a morning item routine. So it's almost like all those things you're going to need in the morning. You put your pajamas on, you do a quick hoover, you know, you take your leopard robe off, and then you go and have a coffee. Yeah, Anita said the air fryer and grill was obviously a great item as well, with Mia saying it was a combo, giving all different features. So in terms of the actual selling, Mia started up first, selling the onesie combo, basically giving all of the different features of it, which Lord Sugar picked up on. He basically said it's really good that she's, you know, showing the robe and showing all the different sides and the sizes and the variations and the colours and things like that. And that it's obviously quite stylish. And I think one of the guys in the director's room, I think it was Jordan or Anita, I'm not 100% sure, one of them said the word stylish, and she was like, oh yeah, it's very stylish. Oh, and actually, speaking about stylish, we've just had a price drop. So she kind of was very quick to pick up on that. So I think she's very, very good. And then Anita was in her ear saying that they've sold 10 of them so quickly, with Lord Sugar saying that they actually sold very, very well. In terms of the coffee machine, that was up to Liam and Mia. Lord Sugar straight away said that Liam looked nervous. He was just kind of shaking from side to side. And he was talking about how the coffee is made, talking about the handle, with Jordan basically shouting at Mia to say, look, tell Alexa to make a coffee for you, show people how it actually works. So Liam was talking, Mia was like, Alexa, make me a coffee. It didn't work, and then it just started pouring out water. And then they started losing sales, and they had callers on the line, and they ended up losing the callers on the line. And then eventually she said, Alexa, make me a coffee. While Liam's still talking, by the way. It was kind of good because he kind of stopped talking. She then had 2 seconds to say, Alexa, make me a coffee. And then he'd carry on talking, and then it finally made coffee. So, yeah, he just seemed very... rigid and giggity. I can't remember what the word was. Rigid. He just seemed a bit I don't know, all over the place. Like, I get a bit nervous sometimes, but he just seemed like he wasn't really happy to be there. He just felt like he just had to be there. And then, yeah, so price drop, $189.99. Jordan added that it's obviously a modern way to make coffee, and Lord Sugar basically said, yeah, Liam just wasn't very good there. Anisha also jumped in and said to Liam in his ear, let Mia talk about her catering experience and her passion for food, because obviously that will then be more relatable for people to go, actually, you know, she's a chef, she's into cooking, maybe she understands it a little bit more. And then, yeah, the air fryer for $300. And then Baroness Brady Karen basically explained that Mia had almost forgotten her catering pitch in terms of, you know, that she's a chef and, you know, she cooks and she's used to all these different machines and variations all the time, and she didn't actually speak up or pick up on any of that in the selling. So that was a missed one there. And then finally, last but not least, it was Liam's solo turn to sell the Hoover, which was at $79.99. Initially, when he was describing the Hoover, he didn't even hold the thing. And then when he did hold it, he pulled the 2 bits apart, broke the handle, and Jordan was basically telling him to put the attachment onto the end of the Hoover. They ended up getting 1 sale, which was great, but he wasn't actually demonstrating how to Hoover. And then he put the bit at the bottom of the Hoover on the wrong way round. So it was very chaotic. I think because you're on live TV and you know people are watching you, you need to do everything perfectly. I don't think that's for me. Anita jumped in with a final price drop, saying that he needed to link the parts of the Hoover together, saying that he needed to, you know, take his time to assemble the product together, and he had 9 seconds to go. He eventually got bits of it, but the Hoover was so short, even Lord Sugar joked, saying, you know, that woman that's just bought a Hoover, she's probably tiny. So yeah, I think that was, out of all of them, that I think that was the worst one. I know he tried his best. He did come across a bit nervous, but, you know, yeah, I also think Jordan should have probably been on the selling side rather than Liam. So when we got back into the boardroom, we'll start with Max's team first. So Max basically explained that he had experience of live streaming sports. Amber Rose was questioned by Lord Sugar as to why she didn't hold the face mask up to her face during the demonstration. Is it because she wasn't wearing makeup? And Dean explained, obviously, that the whole parasol situation, the fact that they chose blankets meant that they needed to sell so many more blankets in order to reach the cost of one parasol, when actually if they would have just got the parasols, yes, more expensive, if you sell them, they're worth that little bit more. Chizola explained that she struggled with the blanket and she didn't have much help in the gallery. And Tim explained that there seemed to be miscommunication in the gallery between the two boys. Max said that there seemed to be a lot of shouting from Dean, and Dean said he actually tried to up the energy, tried to, click buttons and do things differently, with both girls, Chizola and Amber, saying actually it did actually help us, it motivated us. So the fact that, Max is calling Dean disruptive, but the disruptiveness actually helped the girls, kind of backfired upon himself. And Chizola said that, her and Amber both apologised for their health claims. I think the fact that they just got so excited about the product that they were just saying things without actually thinking. But yeah, it was a good product. And for £500 they did. I don't think they got any sales at the £500, but they did get some sales, some higher sales than their final price, if that makes sense. So it wasn't the 500, it wasn't the 100 and whatever they ended it. I think some of the middle ones they ended up, because you could see the sales was at least 2 or 3, so they did okay. And then for Liam's team, he basically said he wanted to do it all over again. Jordan explained that there seemed to be no energy from Liam, and he stumbled on his words again. Jordan explained he was eager to be on the presenting team, and Liam basically replied saying, well, once Jordan found out he wasn't on the selling team, or the TV team, he was just sulking and he had lower energy the whole time, which Jordan completely disregarded. Lord Sugar explained that Liam's presenting skills were not very good, and some of the feedback was that he was embarrassing, dreadful, and should be removed from the selling show. Anissa explained that she felt like they needed to have more energy and more passion, and that Mia was very, very good, with Mia adding it was her favourite task to date. Jordan said that he felt like they needed to go for products that they could see themselves using, with Liam saying there were some interesting products, with Baroness Brady explaining that there were no questions asked about any of the items, or no information given from Anissa and Jordan. It was kind of just left to Liam and Mia to kind of just work it out for themselves. Liam also explained that the Hoover was quite difficult to put together, and Baroness Brady said that they sold 250 within 30 minutes a couple of weeks before, so they're just wondering why they weren't able to do the same themselves. Maybe it was just the sales techniques just weren't really working. So in the end, for Max's team, they sold 32 products and made a total of £1,305.60. For Liam's team, they sold 37 products and made a total of £1,529.63. So only about £200 in it, to be fair. They only sold 5 more products, but I think because their products were more expensive, that's why Liam's team won. So Liam, Jordan, Mia, Anissa were straight into the top 7. And obviously Max, Amber, Chizola and Dean were all up for potentially being fired. So for the winning team, Lord Sugar let them loose at a high rope activity course. Liam said it felt great to win, and without the Hoover sales, he probably wouldn't have won the task. Mia said it's a big achievement and she's glad that they've won, with Jordan saying he's now won 7 out of 9 of the challenges and he's glad that they've obviously won the task. Lord Sugar basically explained, Max explained that they obviously lost out on the air fryer, with Chizola basically saying that she gave as much enthusiasm as possible. They're not at fault, the failure is with the awful product selection that they were given. Dean said he would have switched the star item, and the wrong person became the project manager for the task. Max said he's not going to have the blame coming onto him because he was the project manager, he put things in place and his team kind of didn't really follow him. And Amber Rose said the other team just had better ideas. When it came to Lord Sugar, he said that for this selling company, they were able to sell at least 50 kayaks in 20 minutes. What was the issue? Why were they not able to sell as many and as quickly? And Amber Rose basically explained that she was quite frustrated with the gallery to see like if there was any information they needed to be given or any USPs or anything about the products, and there was no information given to either of their earpieces. And then Max jumped in and quickly said, well, actually, there were things that we were giving you in terms of information, such as bringing the face mask up to your face, and you just ignored it. So, yeah, Amber Rose went quiet very quickly, but at the same time, that's not feedback about the item. That's just telling you how to use the item, but you still need information, top tips, where it can be used, why you need it, those sorts of things. Chizola also added that the blanket was awful. It was an awful product to have. Dean explained that although the parasol was expensive, you would only need to sell a few of them in order to make up the price of however many carpets you would sell or blankets you would sell. And Max said that both him and Dean agreed on the products, and they both need to take accountability, and Max will take accountability. Chizola said that she was quite enthusiastic throughout the whole task, and she was quite enthusiastic for those star items, with Tim saying yes, that's the problem, you were equally enthusiastic for all of the items, which is why they didn't win the five multi-combo grill thing, because they were so enthusiastic about all of the star items. He just thought the other team genuinely just wanted that one combo item, and that's why they won that, and that's why this team didn't get that. And then obviously Lord Sugar said to Dean, it seems like Max is calling you disruptive, and Dean just said, no, I was trying to just do things differently, trying different things, clicking different buttons, because, you know, it's a star item, you don't want it to be boring, you want things to be happening on the screen. So literally, if the button says button firework, you know that that's just going to shoot out a firework. Every so often there was a sale, he clicked on the button for applause. What's it going to do? It's going to make clapping noises. Like, it's not rocket science as to what the button's going to do, but the fact that Max was shutting every single suggestion down from Dean, I know he had probably 400 things to think about at the same time, but yeah, he kind of wasn't really listening to Dean. Dean wasn't being disruptive, Dean was just trying to do something different. In the end, Max decided that he was going to bring in both Chizola and Dean, so Amber Rose completely off the hook, not her problem at all. She did the best out of the four of them, I believe, so I'm glad that she stayed. Chizola was brought back because obviously they didn't win the air fryer, and Dean was brought back because of the supposed disruption in the gallery. So the three of them went outside to let Lord Sugar discuss with the other two. Tim basically explained that Max was picking items he liked, he wasn't really thinking about the consumer. Chizola made two massive mistakes, one on the star product, obviously being enthusiastic for all of them, and then actually knowing nothing about the item, so actually then selling an item you don't really have any information about. And then for Dean, he's a bit of a kid in a shop in terms of being in this task with all these different buttons, and he was getting on the project manager's nerves, but again, he wasn't really the failure of the task, or was he? We'll find out. So Chizola explained that she got too excited on both of those products, and she basically replied to Lord Sugar, who asked her whether Mia was better than her, and she said, no, Mia's not better than me. And she said that she saw this item of the gloves as a risk, something innovative, something different, whereas something like the kayak is niche. That's probably why you didn't get as many sales on that, because only a specific target audience, or, you know, sports people, active people, people that like travelling or going on holiday, swimming in water, things like that, they're the people that are likely to buy the item, as opposed to someone who's, you know, 90 and sitting at home playing bingo. So yeah, the specific target audience may not want to buy a kayak. They could probably buy it for their family, but again, it's a bit of a push. But they didn't even mention these little facts and things like that. Max said that they obviously didn't pick the right product in hindsight, such as the kayak, which they shouldn't have selected. And Dean also added that he wasn't disruptive with the buttons. It was just buttons, it was nothing crazy. And Max explained he was confident with his output. Chizola said that obviously because of Max having previous experience with live streaming, or not live TV, but just some sort of live experience, and that's why she voted for him as the project manager. And Dean questioned Max, saying, well, actually, where were those skills in the gallery? It felt like he wasn't really doing much. Yeah, it seemed like Dean was obviously controlling the prices, and Dean was obviously speaking to both of the girls through their earpieces, when actually Max was just kind of just sitting there listening and watching along. I think that's the thing, he was just kind of waiting for something to happen. He was waiting for Dean to probably come in with a suggestion, and obviously when there was like 3 minutes left, Dean came up with a suggestion, Max was like, no, wait, and then did something anyway. So it was almost like he just needed to be pushed a little bit in order to make a decision. And the fact that Dean was in there, yeah, he was able to push Max, but almost at a bit of a delay. So yeah, I think Max was just kind of hovering there a little bit. Chizola said Lord Sugar said that Chisola was very good on the task, having that tough product to sell, and obviously the kayak canoe situation. So she was going to be remaining in the process. It was obviously going to be between Max and Dean who was going to go. Lord Sugar explained that Max hasn't impressed him much in the series so far, and that Dean worries him a lot. It's the 4th time that he's been in the bottom 3 in the last 3 weeks. And Lord Sugar said that, you know, unfortunately with Max's performance, he's just not very impressed at all. And it was Max who was fired from the process, which I think was the right decision. And Lord Sugar looked at Dean straight away and said, Dean, take this as a serious warning. You know, if there's anything else that you do that's out of place or disruptive or whatever, you will be the next to leave the process. So I think it was kind of like some of the others. Some of those other ones in the older episodes that had those little warnings of, you're being lazy, you're not doing anything, you're being disruptive. They had their one warning or they had their one allowance, and then boom, they're the next person to be fired because they just don't listen to Lord Sugar. Max explained that he was gutted. He was glad to have put himself forward and not sit on the fence. And Amber Rose said that both Dean and Max were on thin ice, so she thinks one of the two of them will be removed from her team. And when Dean came back in, he said it seemed like a bit of a dogfight between him and Max, but he's got the bigger teeth. With Amber Rose saying we only have one task left until we're at the final 5. So that's where we are at the end of episode 9. So we currently have 7 people left in the process. So I'll just quickly do a little bit of a rundown as to our final 7 so far. So from Team Parallel, we have 4 people left. So we have Amber Rose, who from day dot, gorgeous girl, very smart, very intellectual. She's clearly a businesswoman. She's clearly good with people. Like I said, she looks great, and I think first looks and first impressions are quite helpful in business. So yeah, I think she's really, really good. I think she'll definitely make the top 5, 100%, no doubts about it, unless she does something so stupid that someone else gets let off the hook. Obviously, you've got Chisola. Again, from the beginning, I knew she was quite a good candidate. I just wasn't sure when she was going to come out of her shell. And I think in some of the more tasks where she was actually doing public speaking, she was doing the selling, and she was, you know, getting involved, being more vocal. I think that's when I've seen that she's also struck quite a strong candidate. So again, I think unless, again, similar to Amber Rose, if she does something stupid, she will be fired. But I think that she will get into the top 5 as well. Dean, again, very cheeky chappy, very Essex laddie, kind of, you know, a bit naughty, but he does get on with it, and he does do sales very, very well. I think sometimes by some of the candidates he's been shut down, so, you know, he's given his feedback, he's given his opinions, and people just don't listen to him. So he either needs to be more vocal, or he just needs to be putting himself forward again as project manager or sub-team leader, whether he feels comfortable in the industry or not, just so that he has some form of, you know, leadership title for that task, so people actually will listen to him. But again, I think he's still a good candidate, hence why he's got so far, and he's literally in the top 7, which is incredible. Mia, I think she is very, very good. I think she's very vocal. She gives a lot of ideas. She's very suggestive for, you know, team names, very suggestive for brand names, colours, ideas, suggestions for things like that. So it's not necessarily a bad thing to be very vocal, but sometimes if you have a vision and you just run with it and you don't let anybody else get involved and it fails, obviously the entire project is then down to you. You're the only one that can be blamed because no one else has had an input. You've just gone with the vision and fingers crossed. So sometimes it is good to have some sort of team involvement. So I wouldn't say that she needs to do anything different. I think she's absolutely smashing it. She's great at the selling, picking up on those keywords, key points. You know, when she was like, oh, this thing is stylish. Oh, and speaking of stylish, the price has just dropped. So picking on little things like that, I think she's really, really good. Liam, again, he had his few little issues. I'm not 100% sure if he's going to win. I don't think he's going to win. Yeah, the odds are quite low compared to some of the other candidates. But I do think he's a really nice guy. Again, similar to Dean, cheeky chappy, you know, quite funny, has charisma. I think he's quite similar to me in the fact that, you know, when he does public speaking or when he's in front of a camera, he's going to get a little bit nervous because it's not his normal environment. It's, you know, I presume he does do sales and stuff like that, but it's probably not on live TV, and it's probably not Hoover's. It's probably whatever industry he's in. He's got that experience, he's got those expertise, and he's got that knowledge already in that field, not trying to work out how to put a Hoover together or take a Hoover apart, to be fair. So I don't think he's going to win. I don't think he's going to make top 5, but again, he could absolutely smash the next 2 weeks. Like he could smash the next task, be PM again, and he could smash the interviews and get through. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens with him. Anissa, again, she was one of my front runners from the beginning. I'm very, very happy she's still in. I know she had a big mistake in the last task, but she overruled that within this task. So yeah, I think, yeah, she kind of learned her lesson very quickly that, you know, you can't make mistakes. And I think she's the only person that's been project manager 2 times in a row, like 2 weeks in a row, where I think she was project manager in week 1, or yeah, project manager in week 2, and then project manager in week 3, or 1 and 2. It was either 1 and 2 or 2 and 3, but yeah, even Lord Sugar was like, oh, putting yourself forward again, aren't we? She's like, I'm surprised you're not project manager again this week. So yeah, she's very, very strong. She clearly knows what she is looking to go into. I think both her and Mia are catering, or both food related industries. But yeah, Anissa, a very confident woman, very powerful. I think she does have a few flaws. I think sometimes, you know, yeah, like obviously missing the product in the last one, and, you know, potentially not being on the sales team when actually she should have probably been on the sales team. So not necessarily flaws, but just not putting herself as much out there in all of the tasks. I think some of the tasks, yes, but some of the tasks, yeah, she's just a little bit more quiet, giving a bit more limelight to other people, should we say. And then finally, Jordan, again, another cheeky chappy. I think he's very good. I think he's one of the dark horses in the competition, because from day dot he's been very vocal. I've known he's been there because of obviously his strong accent, but again, he puts a lot of ideas in, and similar to Dean, and similar to some of the other girls and some of the other guys that are now no longer in the series, he is speaking and people are just not listening. So a lot of those people that don't listen are now not in the series, and there's a couple that are still in there. But, you know, I think that's the thing. It's a very heated program, and I think it's probably a very heated series, because it's probably all shot so quickly and such quick turnarounds in order to get these tasks done, and, you know, all these meetings and things like that, and then the way they edit it together. But from what we see on that 1 hour every week, yeah, I think Jordan is very, very good as well. So yeah, we've got Amber, Chizola, Dean, Mia, Anissa, Liam and Jordan. I think my top 5, I want to say the 4 girls, but I don't think all 4 of them will. I think Amber definitely, I think Mia definitely, I think Anissa potentially as well. It's Chizola's on the fence for me a little bit. And then for the boys, I think Jordan definitely will. So it's either going to be, so Chizola, Dean and Liam, one of the 3 of them will join the top 5, and I think the other 2 will be gone. So that's probably my rating as of now. So Chizola, Dean, Liam. The 2 weakest ones out of them, I think, would be probably Liam, and depending on how they perform, Chizola or Dean. But again, I can't really, potentially Chizola. So then our top 5 would be Dean and Jordan, Mia, Anita and Amber Rose. So that's my rankings for now. But if you did enjoy my review and the unfortunate firing of Max, then don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Episode 10 will be coming very, very soon, and this is the final task before interviews week, which will be very fun to be note-taking. I don't know how I'm going to do that. But yeah, I hope you do enjoy this video, and I think I'll probably do one person at a time. So these are all Amber Rose's interviews, or these are all Dean's interviews, rather than just boom, 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 because I will just give myself a headache. So yeah, anyway, hope you all have a lovely day, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and until my next review, thank you for watching, and goodbye.